OP abandons his family after finding out his 5-year-old son is not his. Reddit has very mixed reactions. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I found out that my wife cheated on me 6 years ago. The way I found out was that her sister told me that after going to visit her to find out how the delivery of her first child was, she confessed to me that 6 years ago, my wife told her that she slept drunk with her best friend. In her words, my wife was very sorry. At the time, she told me I was with my son, and immediately after leaving her house, I went to take a paternity test with him, fearing the worst. A week later, I got the results, and my fears came true. My son is not mine. For some reason, I began to see the boy differently, more as an acquaintance than a son. With proofs in hand, I confronted my wife at night when the child was sleeping. She asked me who told me, and I simply told her that it was none of her business, although obviously it will not take long to connect the dots and say that it was her sister. Well, that is not my problem now. Regardless of that, I asked her for a divorce, which is now in process. She was devastated. She swore to me more than once that nothing happened to anyone again, and that she has been faithful to me in body and soul since then. I held back the urge to insult her to avoid complications during the divorce issue, not believing a word she said, mostly blaming the alcohol instead of taking the blame herself. After talking about it, she threatened me, saying that she would demand full custody of the child. I was so annoyed at that moment that I told her, okay, I don't want anything to do with something that is not mine, that she keep the child, and I'll keep the dogs. We have 2 dogs that we adopted as puppies, and they are currently 8 years old each. After my words, she tried to convince me to take care of the child with her, saying that I was his father. At that moment, I exploded. I was so angry, and I had held back so much the urge to scream that I just yelled at her to go and take her bastard with her. A week has passed since that, and I am at home. It is in my name, because it is a gift from my parents. She went to her parents' house with her kid. She has not called me since then. She left with everything and the half-asleep kid when I yelled at her, especially since it was the first time I really yelled at her, and it sure affected her. I talked to my parents, and my dad told me that I did the right thing, and that I shouldn't be raising something that is not of my blood, and I agree with him. However, the pain is still there. My younger brother told me to write here to entertain myself. I am currently seeing a therapist 3 times a week, who told me that I have already taken the first step, which was to leave behind what causes me pain. It just hurts to know that my family no longer exists. Regarding why my sister-in-law told me everything according to her, she felt guilty seeing me always happy with my son, knowing that he may not be mine, and that the fact that we went to visit her in a moment of weakness caused her to completely break down with guilt. I don't know how true that is. I just know that right now I feel tremendous hatred for my wife and a feeling between pain and resentment for the child, although it's just time to get ahead. I just hope the divorce goes smoothly. We have separate finances and properties, and if she really asks for child support, I have proof that it's not mine. According to my lawyer, that's more than enough if she tries a legal process for that. My therapist also recommended that I not see him or her, that regardless of the child's feelings, I should focus on my own first, that the child is no longer my problem, and the sooner I accept it, the better. Sorry for the misspellings. English is not my first language. Relevant comments. The fact that you immediately disconnected from a child you raised as your own son for half a decade and started referring to him as something that is not mine is revolting. If you're that shy of a person, that kid deserves better. Tinefishtits. Reply from competitive ad 29. This comment shows that you have never in your life had anyone betray you like that of a woman you married and were lied to for 5 years. I should have realized you were a woman and of course would take the side of a woman. Besides that, this man hasn't done a damn thing to the child, but raised it. He no longer should, and the biological dad should instead. Update. Well, 2 weeks have passed since my first publication and 3 weeks since everything happened. Not many relevant things have really happened, but here is a short summary. Approximately 3 days after my publication, my ex came to my house and asked to come in. I went out and met her at the door. I told her that she was not going to set foot in my house while I was here. If she was going to say anything, let it be at the door. Well, she practically begged me to take her son back, saying that if I want to cut off all contact with her, that's fine, that she deserves it, but that she can't raise a child alone, that she has a job, and that raising him alone is going to destroy her dream of being a notary. She works in public records, and is 2 more years away from running for the judiciary to get a vacancy to have her own notary. I tried to explain to her in the calmest way I could that my therapist is the one who recommended me to cut off all contact with the 2 of them, and to please leave my door before I lose my mind. I love the child, but I don't want to take out my anger on an innocent. Even less considering that this innocent is the product of her inability to keep her legs closed. I said this last thing with a bit of anger. But I never raised my voice because we were on the street. That the child deserves better, and that she is currently responsible giving it to him. I don't know how, but that's not my problem anymore. After that we talked a little more. She resisted the urge to try to cry and make a scene because, once again, we were on the street. And she is someone who always she took into account what people said about her. The last thing she asked me was to at least let her see the dogs. I told her no, that the best thing is for them to get used to her absence. See her again after so much time will only make them euphoric. After that she just nodded and left. 2 days after that, she called me when she received the divorce papers. My mistake was answering the phone because immediately after about 30 minutes, she was yelling, to which I later managed to say that the papers must have the number of my civil lawyer, so she can call her if she has any questions. After that I silenced her number, and she has not come to my house since then nor tried to call again. That same day, I contacted a friend that I made during my master's degree, and I told her to go out. She accepted, and well, we've been going out since then. Finally, last Friday, I told her to be an exclusive couple, and she accepted. She has stayed at my house for a few days, and she already knows and adores my dogs, which I appreciate because I couldn't start something with someone who doesn't accept my pets. We are currently taking things easy. She knows the drama I am having with my ex and the child, and she respects my decision. She asked me if I would ever have contact with the child again. I told her maybe when he is of age to understand my decisions, but that I don't expect it to interfere with my life in the future, to which she just nodded and was glad that I take myself as a priority during this process. Maybe this took a little longer than I expected, but this is the summary of what happened these days. And well, many people have been asking me for an update, so here it is. Relevant comments. Dude, you suck. How do you explain this to the child? I have a 5-year-old. If I found out she wasn't mine, I wouldn't care. The bond is already there. Maybe you were just looking for an out. You got it. The fact that you already have a girl tells us all we need to know. NG jumping, tap 1081. OP's reply. That's why I said I would explain it to him when he has the age to understand it, as it said in the post. You both are not that great, to be honest. The kid deserves better than you both. As quickly as she opened her legs to someone else. You were just too quick to ghost that poor boy. 5 years ago, that kid was calling you daddy, and just like that, you're done. The kid at least deserves closure. Even a goodbye. And you already have a girlfriend. From the outside, looking into your heart, you were never in that marriage or your family anyway, regardless of her infidelity. You were probably looking for a way out of being a dad and husband, and you got some divine green light. TJ Washer 1. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.